I represent a lot of blue collar workers who are fans of our show because I try to give a voice to that portion of the country. But part of the problem, and we call them the muscular class on the show, as you know, Mike, part of the problem are parents around the country would rather have their kid go into debt to study sociology at, Wellesley than to go work construction. Can you speak to that? Part of that needs to be a cultural change for specifically suburban America. If their son says, Mom, I want to be an electrician, they should applaud that. They should celebrate it. They should encourage it because they actually might have better character, a better financial balance sheet, less debt, and greater job opportunities than studying communications at University of Illinois. Mike Rowe.
Well, to be charitable about it, I'm sympathetic to parents who are desperately trying not to screw their kids up. There's no playbook for this, of course, and parents want to offer good advice. They don't want to mess it up. They're desperate for an instruction manual. But we fall into this cookie cutter world where, politicians in particular, but lots of other people too, speak very broadly and paint with a real broad brush. And so a lot of parents who really don't know any better have been told from the get-go that the best path for the most people is the most expensive path and that their kids are screwed if they don't take that path. Therefore, surprise, surprise, universities have been able to charge whatever they want, essentially, because the feds have opened up a bottomless pile of free money, and we have collectively encouraged a whole generation to borrow whatever it takes to fulfill their dreams. So it's not one person doing a really foolish thing. It's a lot of people standing by watching a lot of dumb things happen, including and perhaps especially the removal of shop class from high school. That really put us on a road, Charlie, a bad road. And it didn't just impact the widening skills gap. It removed from view any optical proof that a regular kid could have that these muscular jobs exist. Walking from English to math class and sticking your head in the metal shop and seeing that image right there. At least you could get a look at something that resembled work. But we took it all out. We just arbitraged it right out of the whole process. And so parents were left with this idea that there was really only one path for their kid. And if their kid couldn't take that path, everything else, including that guy welding two pipes together, was some sort of vocational consolation prize. Well, the chickens have come home to roost. AI, as I said in that clip, is coming for the coders. It's not coming for that guy. That guy's job is secure, and he's making mid-six figures, and that's the message.
Well, and this is
to shout.
So yes, I love that. So I want to zero in on that because that's so important. So number one, I can speak from personal experience. I've never really been into crafts or shop, just not my focus or emphasis. But I went to school at Wheeling High School in the suburbs of Chicago, and we had a huge automotives and shop class. However, it was always treated as if those were kind of like the secondary kids. Like those are the kids that they're not in the AP classes, and they're not the ones that are going to be getting the good jobs. And it was kind of looked down upon. Again, it wasn't said, as audibly, but it was a vibe. It was definitely the perspective that we were given that, come on, you're going to, you're going to shop class. What you're kind of like beneath the surface. So that we need to change that. But I want to just, in the 3.5 minutes we have in this segment, because it's the most important thing, we could talk about the vibes and the cultural stuff forever. Can you go through the numbers, Mike Rowe? How many of these muscular jobs are going to be necessary? How many AI jobs are going to be lost? And how many job openings are there right now in America that pay a decent wage, that require a little bit of skill, a little bit of training, and a lot of hard work? What is the current economic number showing us?
I can tell you what I know. I don't have a crystal ball, obviously, so I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out. But in real time right now, we have 7.6 million open jobs, the vast majority of which do not require a 4-year degree. They require training. Within that cohort, we've got another 482,000 jobs that are open in manufacturing right now. I can't tell you definitively what they pay and what kind of path you're going to get on if you jump into that end of the pool, because state by state it varies. This is the thing, Charlie. It's a trap. You know, we want to be able to say this is what a welder makes. Well, you know, I've trained 2,500 welders. Many of them are making well into the six figures. I just talked to a guy the other day who came back from the Gulf of Oman, underwater welding, 300 grand a year tax free. Okay. Now, there are also welders in this country making $55,000, $60,000 in Louisiana and Ohio. So it's difficult, right? But here's what gets lost. And here's what I'll leave you with, because I know you got to go to a break. People talk about welders and electricians and steam fitters and pipe fitters as workers, period. The vast majority of small businesses we have in this country were formed by men and women, but mostly men, who mastered a skill that was in demand and then went on to buy a couple of vans and hire their buddy, maybe a plumber, maybe a couple HVAC guys, maybe some electricians, and now they have a mechanical contracting company and they're doing a few $1,000,000 a year. Those stories need to be told as well, because even though that event I was just at, that was all about the macro economy. That was macro works. I'm micro works. Right. And I don't want to lose sight of the individual. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that mastering a skill that's in demand can still take the right person with a modicum of entrepreneurial spirit and a little bit of ambition. It'll put that person on a road, and that road leads to some place that looks an awful lot like prosperity.